Imagine a world before Instagram, before influencers, before fashion was instantly accessible with a swipe. In the 1990s, luxury wasn't something you scrolled past, it was something you felt. It lived on glossy magazine pages, on dramatic runways, and in the unforgettable presence of women who were more than beautiful faces. They were icons, they were personalities. They were supermodels. As the lights hit the runway and cameras flashed from every direction, these women didn't just walk, they transformed fashion into a global spectacle. Their names became as recognizable as movie stars. Their styles shaped the dreams of an entire generation, and their influence still colors the way we see luxury today. Before there were fashion influencers, there were the original influencers, the supermodels who didn't need social media to become legends. The 90s weren't just another decade in fashion. They were a turning point, a cultural shift that rewrote the rules of beauty, power, and style. This was the era when a model could stop traffic, dominate headlines, and redefine what luxury meant simply by stepping onto a runway. Designers poured millions into campaigns, fashion houses turned into entertainment powerhouses, and television brought couture into living rooms around the world. It was a decade where fashion was louder, bolder, more dramatic, and the women who walked the runways became larger than life, too. In this video, we'll dive deep into the supermodel era that shaped the very foundation of modern luxury women's style. We'll explore how Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, Christy Turlington, Claudia Schiffer, and Kate Moss became more than fashion faces. They became cultural forces. We'll look at how their unique styles, personalities, and partnerships with major fashion houses like Versace, Chanel, and Calvin Klein transformed the industry forever. And we'll trace the ripple effect of their influence, from the rise of celebrity modeling to the standards of luxury that designers and brands follow even today. So, settle in, because we're going back to the decade when fashion was fearless, when runways were rock concerts, and when 6 extraordinary women ruled the world not with crowns, but with charisma, confidence, and couture. Naomi Campbell's rise in the 1990s wasn't simply the ascent of another model, it was the emergence of a cultural force who would forever alter the language of luxury. Her walk alone could silence a room. Long before runways became Instagram moments, Naomi turned them into global events. She embodied power, sharp, precise, and unforgettable. Designers like Gianni Versace didn't just dress her, they centered shows around her impact. Naomi's presence on the runway challenged long-held industry norms, pushing fashion toward a more inclusive and diverse future. In luxury campaigns, she brought an intensity that felt both regal and rebellious, merging high glamour with an impossible-to-ignore attitude. Her style blended bold silhouettes, metallics, vivid hues, and daring cuts that mirrored her fearless personality. At a time when luxury was dominated by Eurocentric ideals, Naomi stood as a symbol of global beauty, redefining who belonged in fashion's upper tier. Her influence shaped luxury editorial imagery, set new standards for runway performance, and helped elevate fashion shows into entertainment phenomena. Naomi Campbell didn't just participate in the 90s supermodel era. She helped define its edge, its drama, and its evolution toward something far more expansive than fashion had ever been before. Cindy Crawford brought a completely different kind of luxury to the 90s, one grounded in accessibility, confidence, and American glamour. She wasn't just stylish, she embodied a vision of healthy, athletic beauty that revolutionized the perception of high fashion. Cindy's signature mole, strong brows, and voluminous hair became iconic features that blurred the line between high-end couture and mainstream pop culture. Her partnership with Gianni Versace created some of the most memorable runway moments of the decade. And her 1992 Pepsi commercial turned her into a household name worldwide. What made Cindy essential to luxury fashion wasn't just her beauty, but her versatility. She could go from a sleek Calvin Klein editorial to a sculptural Versace gown effortlessly. Luxury brands loved her not only for her look, but for her ability to connect with audiences beyond the typical fashion crowd. She participated in the growth of the fashion industry into television and advertising, pushing luxury brands into living rooms across America. Cindy Crawford's influence shaped an idea of luxury that was glamorous but reachable. Powerful but warm, a blend that resonated deeply with women of the era and continues to define modern fashion campaigns. Linda Evangelista was the chameleon of the 90s supermodel world, a woman who could alter her appearance so dramatically that each transformation sparked new global trends. She wasn't just a luxury model, she was the artistic muse of the industry. Karl Lagerfeld famously declared that no one was more professional, and Linda lived up to that reputation with her ability to embody any designer's vision. Her ever-changing hairstyles became legendary, whether it was the fiery red crop or the cool, icy blonde bob that reshaped beauty standards overnight. Linda understood fashion on a level that transcended modeling. She approached every shoot like a performance, every runway like a narrative. Luxury brands loved her because she could elevate clothing into art. Her work with Chanel, Dior, and every major fashion house of the decade reflected not just status, but innovation. Linda's assertiveness also brought attention to the value of models in the fashion ecosystem. Her famous statement about not getting out of bed for less than $10,000 a day symbolized a larger shift. Supermodels had become luxury commodities, as valued and influential as the brands they represented. Linda Evangelista remains one of the clearest examples of how creative risk-taking can define luxury's evolution. Christy Turlington represented the opposite end of the luxury spectrum: minimalist, serene, almost ethereal. She defined a softer, more refined expression of high fashion that contrasted sharply with the decade's bold glamour. Her face became synonymous with purity and elegance, making her the perfect muse for Calvin Klein, whose minimalist aesthetic dominated the era. Christie's natural beauty wasn't theatrical or provocative, it was timeless, the kind of beauty associated with couture houses that valued simplicity and subtlety. She brought a meditative calm to runways, exuding a sense of effortless sophistication that luxury brands found irresistible. Her presence was so poised and balanced that she elevated even the simplest garments into objects of desire. Christie also played a major role in editorial fashion, appearing in countless Vogue covers that solidified her status as one of the most influential faces of the decade. She set new standards for luxury minimalism, proving that high fashion didn't always need drama to be powerful. Christie's contribution to the 90s supermodel era was in showing how quiet confidence, clean lines, and natural beauty could carry just as much influence as bold glamour. Claudia Schiffer brought classic European elegance to the 90s, a modern-day Brigitte Bardot, whose look blended old Hollywood femininity with contemporary luxury. Karl Lagerfeld's fascination with her made her the face of Chanel during one of its most transformative eras. She embodied the brand's vision of polished Parisian sophistication with a youthful twist. Claudia's blonde bombshell identity gave luxury fashion a sense of timeless allure, making couture feel both glamorous and approachable. Her runway presence was a combination of grace and warmth, drawing audiences into the fantasy of high fashion. She represented the ideal blend of tradition and modernity, which helped brands expand their global reach. Claudia's influence extended beyond runways. She became a staple of high-end advertising, appearing in campaigns that defined 90s opulence. Her beauty symbolized a refined luxury aesthetic, structured silhouettes, elegant accessories, soft color palettes, and a steady confidence. Claudia's presence in the decade's fashion narrative helped preserve the romantic essence of European couture, while pushing it into the global mainstream. Kate Moss arrived on the scene as a rebellious contrast to the glamour-dominated supermodel world, spells, where her peers embodied luxury through grandeur. Kate did it through raw minimalism, redefining an entire era of fashion with her unapologetically stripped-back aesthetic. Her collaboration with Calvin Klein launched the controversial heroin chic movement, privileging simplicity, grunge, and authenticity over polished perfection. Kate's influence wasn't about power walks or theatricality, it was about attitude. She turned vulnerability into an aesthetic, creating a new vocabulary of luxury grounded in understatement. Her slim frame, natural makeup, and intentionally imperfect style challenged traditional beauty standards and forced fashion to reconsider what luxury could look like. Kate represented a new generation of consumers who valued individuality over glamour. Luxury brands embraced her because she made fashion feel real, wearable, and emotionally expressive. Her impact remains deeply embedded in modern fashion, especially in brands that prioritize minimalism and authenticity over conventional glamour. Helena Christensen brought sensual elegance to the 90s supermodel world. She possessed a distinctive beauty-intense eyes, sculpted features, and an aura that was both mysterious and inviting. Helena's presence in music videos, most famously in Chris Isaak's Wicked Game, made her a pop culture icon, and luxury brands quickly recognized her ability to embody sultry sophistication. She became a favorite for lingerie campaigns, high-fashion editorials, and runways that celebrated femininity. Helena's influence on luxury fashion wasn't just visual. She helped shift the industry toward a more intimate, emotionally resonant presentation of beauty. Her look combined soft romanticism with a darker, moodier edge that appealed to both classic and avant-garde designers. Through her work, Helena demonstrated that luxury could be sensual without being overt, bold without losing subtlety, and emotional without sacrificing elegance. Tyra Banks brought a charismatic, dynamic energy to the 90s supermodel era, becoming one of the most recognized faces of the decade. She represented an expansion of beauty standards, both in runway fashion and commercial modeling. Tyra combined athletic poise with glamorous appeal, making her versatile across luxury campaigns, haute couture runways, and mainstream advertising. She became a pioneer as the first African-American woman to appear on the covers of GQ and Sports Illustrated swimsuits, achievements that helped open doors for greater representation. Tyra's walk was powerful, filled with personality and emotional connection. Her presence introduced a celebratory confidence to luxury fashion, proving that high-end style could also be expressive and joyful. Tyra's influence went beyond modeling. She became a storyteller, using television and media to shape a broader conversation about beauty, empowerment, and self-expression. Her contribution to luxury fashion is seen not just in campaigns, but in the cultural shift toward inclusivity and individuality. As we look back on the 90s, it becomes clear that this decade wasn't just another chapter in fashion history, it was the foundation for the luxury landscape we know today. A time when supermodels weren't just part of the story, they were the story. Naomi, Cindy, Linda, Christy, Claudia, Kate, Helena, and Tyra didn't simply wear clothes. They transformed the meaning of luxury by bringing individuality, personality, and power to everything they touched. 2. Each woman shaped a different facet of style, whether it was Naomi's fierce glamour, Cindy's approachable confidence, Linda's fearless reinvention, Christy's refined minimalism, Claudia's timeless elegance, Kate's stripped-down authenticity, Helena's sensual sophistication, or Tyra's bold and joyful presence. Together, they created a spectrum of luxury that appealed to every kind of woman and every evolving definition of beauty. They didn't compete with one another. They expanded the possibilities of what fashion could represent. Their influence reached far beyond runways and photo shoots. These women helped elevate fashion into global entertainment, making it something people watched, discussed, and admired. They paved the way for modern branding, where the personality of a model could shape the identity of a fashion house. They turned campaigns into cultural moments, proved that models could be celebrities, and redefined beauty standards for generations to come. Luxury became more than fabric, and design it became a narrative built around charisma, diversity, and the kind of confidence that transcended clothing. Even today, when you look at modern influencers, brand ambassadors, and social media icons, you'll find traces of the paths these supermodels carved decades ago. The legacy of the 90s supermodels isn't frozen in nostalgia. It's alive in the way brands market themselves, the way runways are produced, and the way fashion communicates with the world. Their power endures because they represented more than trends. They represented transformation. They changed how women saw themselves, how designers expressed their visions, and how luxury defined cultural identity. The 90s taught us that style isn't just about what you wear, but about the story you tell when you wear it. And these supermodels told stories so compelling that the world is still listening. So as we close this journey through the era that redefined luxury women's fashion, one thing becomes clear. The 90s weren't just the peak of the supermodel era. They were the birthplace of the modern fashion world. And the women who walked those runways didn't just leave footprints, they left a blueprint. Their influence will continue to shape luxury, beauty, and style for generations yet to come.